Happy Wednesday. We are in James 4 and the topic is conflict. Yesterday I noted that we tend to avoid it. Some people tend to avoid it. I have tended to avoid it. Had to learn how to run towards it, not away from it. As a general rule, I still would rather choose sand than seek out conflict. It is exhausting, but we are counseled by Paul to not let the sun go down on our anger, to process this, to work through the disagreements that are there. So I noted yesterday that one of the reasons for disagreements escalating, and disagreements are just part of life, but one of the reasons disagreements could escalate is because someone is avoiding conflict, avoiding processing it in a timely manner. A second reason that disagreements can escalate is because we deal with it in unhealthy ways. And some of this is just personality type. When our boys were young, I remember picking up one of them from the nursery and hearing that somebody took a toy from him and he started to cry, and they couldn't get him to stop crying. And then 3 years later, we got another kid in the nursery, and I hear somebody picked up one of his toys and he hauled off and ripped it out of the other kid's hand and smacked him upside the head with it, right? So, and I wanted to say, okay, so we've had both. We've had the one that is passive to a fault, and now we got the one that's aggressive to a fault. Give us time. We're working on it. Our default approaches, you can see in 9-month-olds that people have different approaches to conflict, and often they're not the right ones. One of the challenges that we have, this is just counseling 101, one of the challenges that we have is we often know the right thing to do, but when we get into conflict, when we get into disagreement, we get stressed, and as opposed to acting in healthy ways where we're thinking things through and responding appropriately, we get the negative responses out of it, and so we get the fight or the flight or whatever. So we get, not just in James 4, some counsel about how to deal with conflict. We also get this in Matthew 18. So in Matthew 18, a famous passage about how to deal with conflict, we're told a couple things that I think are really important. One is, if you got a conflict with somebody, go to that person. So if you got a conflict with Bob, don't go to Jim or Jane or everybody except Bob. Go to Bob. And go to Bob intending to listen. So this is not Matthew 18, but I just think it's very helpful. It's 7 habits stuff. Seek first to understand and then to be understood, right? So try and understand to the satisfaction of the person you're disagreeing with, their perspective. And then look for opportunities to share your perspective and see what the solution is. But the other thing that we see is that if you can't work through the conflict, if you and a person have got a disagreement that's escalating, then bring someone else to get help, to help you guys work through that. So the Bible is a very practical book. It's got very wise counsel about how to deal with disagreements. Hope you're using it. Have a good day.